Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been quite a while since I've uploaded anything, so I'm back today to show you how to make a goblet style mug at home. I'll show you some different pinching methods and how to attach a handle as well. Let's get into it. If you're new here, my name is Kirby and I am a ceramicist in Melbourne, Australia. I've already got quite a few videos that can get you started with your clay journey. If you are looking for a little bit more information, I've got my ebook available in the description box that goes through product design, how to get started with clay, how to find a firing service, hand-on techniques, pretty much everything that you need to get started doing pottery at home. Okay, so to get started, I've got my ball of clay and I'm going to mold it into sort of like a peanut shape, with the bottom part, which is going to be the foot of my mug, being a little bit smaller, and the top part, which is going to be the belly of my mug where my liquid will go, being the larger section. So while I'm compressing my clay and smoothing off any lines or creases, this is my final one, just for a reference of the size. So I think it looks really big in the video, but this is the size that it's ended up being, and it will get smaller after the first firing. So just to give you an idea of what that size ball ended up looking like. Normal mug, I would probably normally use maybe like 300 grams of clay. For this one, you're adding the foot on. So if you normally use that, I would add a little bit more in just so that you have got like this area to pinch off, which is extra. You don't want to be taking off your normal mug size. We still want to be able to drink a fair amount of liquid out of it. And then I'm going to start pinching. So to do this, I put my thumb in the center of the clay ball. And then I'm going to be kind of like slowly turning it and squeezing it. The faster you go, the bigger indents you'll have on the outside. It depends on how much, I guess, manipulation you can do with your clay before it kind of breaks. I tend to go a little bit quicker and then smooth out after because I like to have the indent of finger pressure. See how you go with this. It will depend on the consistency of your clay as well. And as I go, I am just smoothing out any areas that are a little bit bumpy. So continuing to spin and pinch my thumb towards my fingers nice and evenly around the whole way. The aim of this is to stretch out our clay essentially while compressing it. So by pinching upwards, you're going to get a bit of height. If you continually pinch outwards, it will just get wider and more like a bowl. So think about the direction you're kind of squeezing and pulling your hands at the end of each pinch. Once you've got the general, I guess, most of the clay pinched up, you really need to go back through and make sure that your walls are nice and even. And this is where you can start refining the shape as well. So think about how curved you want that inside area to be and what you want it to look on the outside. Here I'm sort of compressing the clay by smoothing it, but I'm also pushing the belly out of my cup to keep it a little bit, and you'll see it really quite a lot here, to keep it nice and curved and round, because I want it to really be quite hourglass shaped. So this is where you're really refining the shape and thinking about the top section. Also make sure you give the rim of your cup a little bit of attention too. At this point, if you have a Lazy Susan at home or a banding wheel, I would suggest using it. I didn't use one for this one. I'm not sure why I didn't on this day, but it will allow you to spin your pot around without actually having to lift it up and move it. Because we're working with a fragile piece, it will make it much easier for you to finish off. Here I'm just smoothing it out, making sure I'm compressing and then playing around with the shape a little bit before I get ready to pinch out the base. We're going to start pinching out the foot ring. You don't want to leave this solid. Perhaps looking at my video, you'll be able to see how big you want your foot ring to be as well. So maybe think about that when you're planning out the size. All I've done for this is exactly what we did before. I had the ball of clay at the base and I've just poked my thumb in and started pressing from the bottom, squeezing it with my fingers and then kind of smoothing as we go. So that's pretty much all I've been doing. Remember that this is the base, so we're going to have to cut it nice and smooth in a moment, but the main thing is we want to go around, we want to make it nice and even. We want it to kind of mirror the shape of the top as well. So once you have got the thickness that you're happy with, go around, play around with the shape. We want it to be relatively even and not too thin on the base because we are going to be cutting that section. It's different to the rim. The rim you probably want to be a little bit thinner because you're drinking out of it. The base we want to be sturdy because it's sitting on the table. So that's what's keeping our cup sort of connected. Here I'm just going through and using my thumb to smooth out any areas and trying to get a nice curve with my thumb where the joint is between the base and the top section. And then just keeping on pinching, adjusting where it needs to be adjusted. And then getting my cutting tool and getting ready to slice off that section. This is where if you have a banding wheel or a lazy Susan, you would have your work sitting on top. You would rest your arm with your needle tool and then spin it around, and your needle tool should be able to cut through the clay at an even level. So if you're doing that, I think it's definitely better. You'll get a nice even top. In this circumstance, because we're talking about the base, we do want to make sure that it's nice and flat, because if it's going to sit on a surface, we don't want it to be wobbling. You can always tidy this up later on as well. If you do have a little bit of a wobble, you can just wipe it over a sponge until it's smooth. So you're going to roll out a coil, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut it to the length that we think we want it. You can kind of measure this if you want to. Then you're going to push in each end to get it nice and compressed to go onto the side. So I like to flatten it out so it's going to be able to join and have a little bit extra to smooth down onto the edges there. We're going to use a needle tool to attach our handle to our mug. So you're going to start out by scratching in some little lines. If you've got a serrated rib tool, you could use this as well. And then we're going to do the same on our handle. Once you've scored the area you're going to attach the handle on, at this stage, if you want to add water, if your clay is dry, you can. You're going to use your needle tool and you're going to smooth out the handle, what's already there, onto the cup. So here we're compressing it, we're joining it, we're trying to smooth it out. You'll notice that my clay is really moist. If you did want to let it firm up a little bit first and then attach your handle, you could do that. But I would say if you do that, definitely make sure you add a little bit of moisture in there so that you get a nice, strong joint. Okay, so here I'm rolling out a coil to provide basically some reinforcement for our handle to stop it from cracking. I'm using my tool to blend half on the mug body and half onto the handle, and I'm doing that the whole way around. So here that's me blending half onto the mug body, and then I'll use my tool to go around and then blend onto the other half of the handle. And what this does is it creates a really strong join. It means that the handle's got reinforcement. Once you've gone the whole way around, you're going to use your finger to smooth it out. I usually use a little bit of water to do this, and this is going to create a seamless finish. So ideally what we're aiming for is for the handle to look like it's part of the mug. So here it is flipped, and you can see that it's holding up nice and evenly. I'm using my sponge to smooth out any areas that I think it might need a little bit more water. And then I'm trying to really kind of push that handle into the mug body. Remember, we're not just trying to whack it on there. We really want to make a strong join here because it's got to go through the kiln. It's going to be going up to really high temperatures with the moisture taken out of it. So we're really trying to compress that join, blend it into the side of our cup or our mug, and then smooth out any areas as well. So this is the finished bone dry product. I have not bisque fired it yet. It's been drying nice and slowly. Stay tuned for part 2, and I will show you the underglaze patterns that I decorate it with, how to glaze, and also the finished piece at the very end. Thanks so much for watching.